Hi everyone, it's Fitz here at TDECU Stadium in Houston trying to explain how Kansas State just lost his football game 24-19 to the Houston Cougars, but they managed to pull off the feat. Man, this is your Power Talk following a really disappointing loss and just one of those games where you kind of feared it would happen this way. And in fact, if you're a subscriber to GoPowerCat.com and you read my 5 keys to victory, it pretty much followed the path of what Houston needed. The first thing they needed was for this Kansas State team to walk on this field not fully into it. Now, asking Coach Kleiman after the game if his team was fully engaged in this, he said, yes. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. I didn't see a team playing with any fire, any focus, and Chris Kleiman kept coming back to fundamentals. And that really is true with maybe run blocking and things, but overall, this team just didn't have what you need to have to win a game like this. But you've got to go back to the fourth quarter. A little more than 12 minutes to go. K-State's down deep in their territory. The only thing that will save Houston at that point is a turnover or a huge play on defense. A turnover deep in K-State's territory is about the only formula Houston has for a win. Honestly, they weren't moving the ball at that point. Kansas State's ahead by 2 scores. They really should, if they can't get it out of the mouth of their own end zone, go ahead and punt it and try to reset further down the field. But they would have been punting into the wind. And Kansas State wanted to be aggressive and go for the win. Avery Johnson threw an interception, was returned to the 9. And a few plays later, Houston was within 1 score. You're still in control, man. Nope. Kansas State gives up a long run. It's only really explosive play of the game. They gave up a quarterback run for 41 yards. Houston takes the lead, and then K-State just couldn't find any offense to go win the game. This was a pretty pitiful effort, if you ask me. This team wasn't focused on what they needed to be focused on. And one of my concerns coming into this game was after the previous 3 games, all at night, all intense games, all physical games, that they'd be kind of set up for a letdown. Guys, gals, that's what it appeared to me, that they just kind of let up on the gas a little bit. They got caught in playing in wet conditions, and the other team, once again, handled bad playing conditions better than K-State. Why is it that every time Kansas State plays in slippery conditions, it looks like the other team has better footing? I can't explain that. I would love to have an explanation of that, but maybe it was just my own biased observations that I thought Houston looked better on their feet in this game with the rain on the grass than K-State did. We've seen it happen before. Certainly we saw it the last game of last season against Iowa State when Iowa State was just running through the snow fine and K-State couldn't stand up. There's so many things here that are hard to understand. And how this took place took a team effort to make it happen. And it also took a Houston team that was playing really well. That's a good defense. We knew that going in. I mean, that defense has been stymieing people, and you add in the rain and the slippery conditions, and maybe it was just the ideal conditions for Houston to pull off a game like that. But K-State's inability to run the ball now for a number of games with any kind of consistency is awful. And they're going to have to go back and start working on those things. And Chris Kleiman pointed out, they're just not sustaining blocks, and they're not hitting holes with the same inspiration. They've just kind of wound down ever since they won at Colorado. Yeah, I really, truly feel like every game since winning Colorado has been a little bit less inspirational performance by this team. They just didn't have much in their tank today. Now, that they got a favor. Iowa State lost. And I'll try to sort some of that out in Sunday's daily delivery for you. But the reality of this is pretty simple. K-State now does not control its own fate. It's going to need some help. And at 7-2 and 4-2, they're still in pretty good shape. But the team that played here isn't going to win out. They're not going to win at Iowa State. And I'm a little bit worried about what they'll do against Arizona State and Cincinnati and Manhattan. Do have an off week. That's crucial. They need that off week, and maybe they can do something with that. I wish I had great words of wisdom here. But as I walked out of the post-game meeting room, and I'd like to thank Coach Kleiman and the three players who came in, Avery, Keegan Johnson, and Austin Romaine. They're men. They handle things extremely well. And, Keegan was pretty blunt. He didn't want to take away anything from Houston. And he's right. Houston had to put themselves in a position to win in case they'd had to put themselves in a position to lose, both of which happened. But walking out of that post-game press conference down the hallway where the coaches were lined up, sitting on the floor, eating their post-game meals, and shell-shocked was about the only explanation I could give what it looked like. This team didn't see this coming, but they did what they needed to do to make it happen. Not intentionally, I'm not saying that, but there's just certain steps you have to take. If you're going to lose a game of this nature, they took every step possible. Cats lose 24-19. On to an off week. Back-to-back home games. Just control what you can control and get better as a team. Wow, that performance stunk. Period.